Hey Colin.
Hey Mark, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm very well. Hey world.
Hey, this is
Accessible Board Gaming.
Nice. Today we're going to be playing. Oh, wait a second. This is your banana.
It is my delicious banana, thank you.
But you understand why I got the mistake.
Oh right.
Today is Bananagrams.
Yeah.
Do you like the joke?
Nice.
Bananagrams. Great little game before I open up. But great little game actually. Something Colin, I know you've not tried, but guys, I can't recommend it enough. Portable. I'm a guy who likes to, well, in the before COVID times, loves to travel, likes to go and explore or meet family because we're overseas, we're expats. Great portable game, very engaging. The only limitation really is that people have to be able to speak the same language. That's basically the only limitation. It's good for people young, it's good for old. I like on here it says the anagram game that drives you bananas for ages 7 to 107. So if you have any 108-year-old relatives, tell them they're not welcome. But anyone less than 107 or 107 or less are ready to go. So the game's a little bit like Scrabble, but I have to say I don't really like Scrabble. Right?
Yeah, I like Scrabble, but it's a bit full on.
It's a bit full on. It's a little bit boring in my mind, and nothing against
accessible.
It's less accessible. This one is a lot more accessible, and actually I've used this game for players who are exactly the target market we're talking about, people who just don't really like games. People maybe having a few drinks at a person's house responsibly. And I'll be like, oh, who wants to play a game? And I don't know, bring out Bananagrams, always a hit. So let me show you exactly what it is. Inside we have very, very simple things. So you've got obviously the convenient banana-shaped packaging. You have a bunch of tiles. Normally you've got a rule book. I don't think it's that extensive. In this case, it's very, very short. Plus, it's a bunch of different variants on it, but and even has some adverts for the other stuff within their range. So really, the rule book is essentially one little sheet here.
Yeah,
but
it's like a postcard link.
It's like exactly. You can play it on the go. You can play it. So how does it work? I've been dropping tiles and stuff. Okay, what we do is the aim of the game is to play in a similar way to Scrabble, but some of the key differences to Scrabble are there are no numbers in terms of the points on the letters. You'll notice that all the tiles are simply letters, no numbers. So the way it works is you have to create, like the way that Scrabble is, where you have a vertical, horizontal, connecting words. So you can imagine a word that if you were to take something like seat as a word, okay, assuming the camera can see that, but you take seat as a word. If you make any words off of that, you can't have separate, you have to connect it. The word could be, for example, ton. All right, and then you'd use your one of the other letters to create something different. So you could put a T here, and it would be seat, at, to, and ton. And you see there's no
Next level.
So the way that it works is you use up the letters allocated to you through your own words. And then, as you run out of letters, the person who first runs out of letters will get to shout out Peel.
Okay.
And everyone will take a new letter. And then they have to add that to their words. And then once the final tiles are gone, the person who has finished all their letters first shouts out Bananagrammers or
I like you gotta get the words right.
Shouts out bananas. They shout out bananas.
They don't want to be like apple.
No.
Like, no.
They shout out bananas.
You're
and then
you're disqualified.
And then let's say I had these words here. So let's say that I thought that toff was a word. And these are my last words here.
Like G.
Okay.
Like, oh, G.
Possibly. So let's say I put these words here. Now, if I put these words here and I thought toff was a word, right? I said, I finished all my tiles. I said bananas. Now, if all of my words are correct and real words, I become the top banana and I win.
Okay.
If one of them, any of the words are wrong, I become the rotten banana and I'm out. And then all of my letters are added back into the communal pile and the game continues for the rest of the players until someone either becomes the top banana or everyone loses from rotten banana. It has happened once or twice, but most of the time it's the top banana.
You said a whole batch of rotten tomatoes.
Rotten bananas, yeah. So, and that's actually the game. But one of the nuances that's worth noting here is you can mix around your words. So if I started with something like, let's say here, I started with rear. Okay, I had rear as a word, and then the next one I got was an L. okay? And I need to use my R elsewhere. I can just remove around. There's no sticking with it. You can change your words as you're playing.
That's good.
Okay? So then,
Because otherwise you could end up getting a bit stuck.
You could. So don't feel pressured into making the perfect word now. You're just trying to use your letters.
I always feel pressured.
Always feeling pressured. There are different variants of the game depending on if let's say you're in a cafe and you want to play with fewer pieces, or you want to do almost a more Scrabble-like version where you take all the letters. But the usual way is you each grab, I believe with 2 players it's 21, so I'll double check the numbers. That's why it's handy to keep the rule book, because they give you the numbers for that. But if there's 2 to 4 players, 21 tiles. You could have up to 7 to 8 players, which is pretty cool. So you have all people around there and you just take fewer tiles. Start here, grab 21 tiles. Maybe we'll have a quick game, see how it goes. The way that we judge for ourselves, we use the Hasbro Scrabble dictionary. Basically any dictionary you want, but I
like Colin's dictionary.
Of course you do. Agree a dictionary in advance, but basically it's the same rules as Scrabble when it comes to no proper nouns, no slang, no
Use like Urban Dictionary.
No urban. I guess you could have an urban. You could have the sleazy banana version where it's an Urban Dictionary. I don't know, but basically you'd each grab a few tiles. So maybe we try a simple game too.
Cool. I like that it has also a bit of a mahjong feel with all these tiles as well. How many are we doing again?
21.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay. So then these would be the communal pile. So if we were playing, you could play like a smaller version where you would take out a bunch of these. So if we were playing, we might only, and we're only playing in a cafe, maybe we only play with a few of these and we just try and get these through, right? So maybe we'll do that as an example. So we'll take away a bunch of these. Now there is another rule which I haven't told about, which is if you really don't like a letter, you are allowed to get rid of it, and you can say dump. And what you do is you dump your banana part and throw it away. You have to take 3 back. So I would be hesitant.
I hate R's. R's are crap. You just swap it out, but
you might get 3 R's back.
Oh man.
But bear in mind, so if this is a community, let's say I don't like this letter, I throw it back, I have to then take 3 more. So just bear in mind that if you're taking 3, it very quickly adds up and you might get worse letters. So what I would recommend is you try and use your letters you get.
Yep.
In addition, you don't need to know what the word means. So this is a classic Scrabble thing. You don't have to. There's no use it in a sentence. Okay. We just check it out in the dictionary. It either is in or it isn't. There is no arguing. We use the Scrabble dictionary. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
And because it's nice to stem those arguments off in advance. So I don't really know how many.
I do love that Scrabble uses it in a sentence.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can come up with some very funny sentences.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can just cheat, right? You can make up a random word and just say, I used that in a Scrabble. Suddenly you can use that sentence.
Like, thanks for use by the sentence. Get off your high horse.
Okay, so that's the game. Let's give it a bash. I mean, we've got far fewer than we normally would. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Don't do too stressed. As we go, we will shout out, I don't know, Bananagram or something, and then we'll flip them all over, and you just make words. We don't interact. There's no interaction in that respect. So it's
we
not
don't take turns or anything.
We just keep going. It's just hectic. So just go, flip over, and just keep going. And now we just start making some words, and this will be good to show our level of English live on stage.
I feel like this is like a test, a public test.
Yeah, and then you basically just go for it, and it's quite difficult to talk and do this. We might put some music on as we go for this, and then...
Okay.
Okay, so Bananagrams, bananas, whatever. So now what we do is we go through it and we show what words we have. So let me have a look. So at this point we wouldn't throw everything. Sorry, I was just watching people play the game, but look how quick it would be. So at this point, don't throw yours away, because if there was more players and I'm wrong, all of mine go back in the middle and you guys continue.
We're good to go.
Now, in this case, you either win or lose based on whether I'm a top banana or a rotten banana. So what I would do is I'll read out my words. You call out any you're unhappy with. Okay, so if I go here, I've got here, Colin, I'll start from the bottom. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Rage, rug, us, use, rut, gut, gin, pie, as in
pee-pee, pie,
pie, mind, maker, rut, toe. I've got so many U's, like you, just trying to get rid of my U's. partake. Gay by happy. Fa, as in do, re, mi, fa.
Yeah.
Pal, lad, den, and wand.
Wow, that was pretty good, man. Well done.
Thank you.
I think
Show
they're
me
all
what-
legit.
I don't think there's any problems. The only one that would be in my mind would be pal, but I think that's okay. I can double check just to show.
I'm pretty sure it's good.
Okay. I mean, I don't know my phone. My phone is just.
Use it in a sentence.
We just go. So the way it would work is people would call it out. I'll go to
My
the
watch
Scrabble.
pal. Yeah, good job. So I had vain, I had vitality, as I mentioned earlier.
Nice.
I had line.
It's a great
I had
word.
no, I had gory.
Nice.
Which is when I lost my word over here. I had to readjust, and then that kind of massively threw me.
Is that what threw you
I
off?
had
Is it?
reaver,
Nice.
vital, and loiter.
Good words, Colin. Rob and
Good
do.
Scrabble words,
Yeah.
not very good banana peel words.
No,
But that's why it's quite good. I think, like to your point around it being accessible, you don't need a big vocabulary. You don't need to come up with long words or fancy ways to use rare letters.
Mhm.
You know, just like you said, just pull together loads of small words. Every time you get stuck, just pull a few apart, start again.
And the way that I found helpful is actually the way you were starting here, which is get a couple of
Yeah,
slightly
a couple of
long
big
words,
ones.
because you kind of balance them off the rest. But then sometimes
I like
the
to get
short
the
ones.
cut in, yeah.
Because this was difficult because suddenly you can't really, like I got lucky with the S here. I was like this before, and I thought actually this is quite nice, right? But it's sometimes quite difficult when they get compact to build on it. So you do want a couple of the long ones to build out on. And then the other tip, and if ever you're playing as an accessible board gaming guys, the tip I would say is look up a lot of words you have no idea that are 2 letters. And I'll give you an example. Some words you may not know is this. AA is a word. Okay, that's a word that's totally legitimate. If you've got too many A's, a great way of storing them for future reference. Right, because once I use all my letters, I can
Like
call.
A,
I can then just dump the AA, right? Another one is AI, and that's another word that's not an acronym; it's actually a word. JA, I believe, is another one. So do, re, mi, fa. So do and mi, obviously you know, but re and fa are ones you may not know as well. So look up a couple of the 2-letter words. Another one which is really handy is QI. It's chi. And Q can be an absolute beast to get rid of.
Yeah, Q can be very
Because you normally think, well, I need a Q. Not if you want to get rid of
or you'll
a
need to
Q.
break up a whole bunch of other words to try and make a quality or something like that.
Exactly. So chi is a great one to get rid of. And don't forget, the way that the game works is not about how many points can no, just use up the letters. And if you're stuck with the chi, you put it there. In future, you may want to be like, oh, I had vitality, let's change this to quality and use the V in hive or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to bear that in mind. And then obviously the S's are very easy. Right, because you can throw away the S's often on things like this. So you can throw them away, but don't worry too much. The S's are something you can get.
And you can always pull them away later if you want to.
Exactly. The only thing that is quite, and you actually fell foul of it, and I've done it many times myself, is I'll use the letter here, and then you accidentally turn your word into no longer a word, like what was itality, and suddenly you're like, oh no, and suddenly everything stops, and you've got to try and find it, and then what might happen is you've got to break up a big part of your other.
Yeah, you lose your momentum.
You lose your momentum, yeah. So yeah, so that's the game. I think it's a bit of fun. What are your thoughts? First time playing?
I think it's very good. I think it's very portable, which is cool. Accessible for people. You know, you don't need to have a huge vocabulary to do it. You don't need to be into a particular thing. Like it's not like you have to be into strategy games or something else. I could see maybe some people who aren't so literary might get a little bit nervous about it at first. But I like the idea of look, you can start small and just use a small number of tiles to get you going, so it's not such a long game as well.
Yeah.
I guess there's a bit less interaction when you're playing. You're kind of just focused on doing your thing, but that's okay. I think that might give you a bit of a break if you're less into competitive games. And
This is what I was thinking. It's exactly it, Colin. That's a great point. So we're not interacting. It's a game we're playing together, but I'm not disrupting him. He's not affecting me. The only way you affect is, as I finish one, I say peel, and then you have to, and so suddenly you get more and more letters piling up. It's not in the same, it's not like, hang on, I want to take your G, it's none of this.
Yeah.
But I quite like it, it's simple.
Don't take my G.
Don't take my G. It's simple, portable, you can look at, if you lose your little rules pamphlet or barely pamphlet, you can look it up online, that's fine. But yeah, so that's the game. Glad you liked it, Cole. I think that this is a great one to bring people in who aren't experienced gamers.
And good with kids. Good to play the young people, learning some words and
Absolutely.
stuff.
I remember playing with my cousin. She was, I think, 12 at the time. and she kept winning because she was very quick at seeing the patterns. Her vocabulary wasn't as, might not be as good. I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't as good as some of the others at the table. But she was so quick and just playing.
And I think your focus as well, would be important to it.
Yeah, and she would just see the kind of connections very quickly. So I was building quite nicely. I'll be like, I got partake, like a nice long word, and she just had these little ones all the way down. She'd go done. Whoa, 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 Sophie, whoa. So yeah. So anyway, so that was the game. Glad you liked it. I'll put it away. But that was another successful board gaming.
Yeah, nice to meet you both. Do keep in touch with us. Reach out in the comments. Let us know what you thought of the game if you played before. If you have other suggestions for games you want us to review or look into, let us know. And always good showing you guys again. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Onza.
Yeah.